Hey groupers, Pastor Marshall. I hope that you're ready to dig into this passage. It's a dark passage. We are in the trial of Jesus before Pilate and before Herod. This is what I want you to talk about first, just to break the ice. I want everybody to get talking at the beginning of the group. What was your first response to Jesus? Can you remember it? If you were raised in a church like I was, can you remember your second great awakening? Can you remember when you went from the faith that your parents were teaching you to your own faith? If you were not raised in the church and you were simply introduced to Jesus, what was your reaction to that? What was your response to that? Were you just ignorant of Jesus and you embraced it? Did you think that church was archaic? This was fairy tales? Did you think that Christianity was for prudes, for boring people, for stuffy people? What I want you to talk about is what was your first reaction, your first response to Jesus? In this passage today, we see 5 different responses to Jesus. So I want us to talk about that to get going. Then, answer this question. Jesus stood before the political leader of the region of his day, which was Pilate, and King Herod. What do you think it would be like if Jesus stood before the political leader of our day, of our region? What do you think it would be like if Jesus stood before Governor Jerry Brown? What do you think it would be like if Jesus stood before Donald Trump? These are very serious questions. I know that you're going to be playful with this and maybe potentially disrespectful, and I don't want you to be. What do you think that Jerry Brown would ask Jesus? What do you think that Donald Trump would ask Jesus? What do you think that Jesus would say to Governor Brown or say to President Trump? Do you think that he would be silent to either one of them like he was to King Herod? Next question. Why do you think that Jesus said nothing to King Herod? Are you surprised that Jesus doesn't answer his questions? Do you agree with Jesus? Now, again, you're going to just say, yes, I agree with Jesus. I'm asking you to be honest and to dig into this. Do you wish that Jesus would say something to Pilate? Honestly, do you think that he should have? Or was silence the very best medicine for this Idumean king appointed to be king of the Jews? Then Pilate. I'd like you to talk about Pilate in your small group. What is your opinion of Pilate based on Luke's account? Luke says that Pilate 5 times declares that Jesus is innocent. But then, of course, he crucifies Jesus. So I'm asking you, what is your opinion of Pilate? Do you feel sorry for him? That he's trapped between a rock and a hard place? Or do you feel like he is responsible? Is he very responsible? Is he partly responsible? Or is he just a little bit responsible for Jesus' crucifixion? And then finally, what is your opinion of the Jewish crowd, the popular people that joined in the parade a week before when Jesus was coming into Jerusalem, and they were on the Mount of Olives, and they laid their palm branches down, and they laid their cloaks down, and they praised him. And now, in the court of Pilate, maybe in the steps of Herod's palace, they're calling for Jesus' crucifixion. Do you have any sympathy for them? If so, why? Do you have no sympathy for them? If so, why not? What is your opinion of the crowd? Well, every week, I think that you should talk about what you like the most in the passage. Just where did God connect with you the most? What was your favorite thing? And so for me, there's not much that I like in this passage. We are getting into darker and darker corners of the Gospels. Darkness is pervading. But I do like that Pilate sees past the Jewish accusations. He's subverting our nation. He won't pay taxes, and he claims to be a king. Pilate ignores the taxes issue, which to me illustrates that he has some understanding of who Jesus is and what he's been teaching. But he does ask him, are you king? I like Pilate's professionalism. What do you not like? I also think that you should share. What did you have trouble with when you were reading this passage, when you were studying this passage? Maybe even if you were interacting with my sermon, what did you have trouble with? What did you not like? I can't imagine asking that a murderer would be set free because I don't like someone's popularity. That's what I don't like in this passage. I cannot imagine, I don't know what part of me would say that a murderer should go free just because I don't like somebody. Well, and then every week, a little brief reminder of the application. What did we talk about that we were going to do in response to this message on Sunday? And so I asked you to reflect on who you were most like in this story. 5 different characters in this story. We had the Jewish leadership, character 1. And I suggest to you that they are hard-hearted. Nothing changes you. Are you like the Jewish leadership? Or are you like the Jewish crowd? The Jewish crowd, they're shallow. It seems that anything changes them. They're praising Jesus in a parade, and then a few days later they're calling for his crucifixion. Whatever the flavor of the month is, that's their favorite flavor. The role of Pilate, he's the tester. Are you a tester? Is faith not enough for you? That you want, that you insist on answers? Herod. The character of Herod is the carnal character. This is the person that wants God to be for show. If God is real, then make him responsible for entertaining me, not faithfulness. If God is real, I don't want to be responsible to be faithful to him. I just want him to take care of me. And then finally, Barabbas, the criminal that is set free. Do you identify most with a guilty man who is sentenced to death for the things that he has done? And you will let Jesus die in your place, take your place, and with a little bit of a smile on your face, you will not say a word. Let him die for me. I don't want to die for my mistakes. Well, that's what I want you to think about. Who are you most like in this story? Well, I'll see you next weekend as we continue our walk to the cross. God bless.